So, what's the situation now, and how long could it be before power is back up and running?
Yes, Chris, thank you. We are still, as you saw in the images, and you've seen video coming out dealing with the major effects of this ice storm. It's created a myriad of challenges, the biggest being our power outages. We peaked at roughly 360,000 plus, looking at about 250,000 now. With that, the challenges of warming centers and sheltering become more and more apparent as time goes on, and it becomes critical. We're also dealing with a lot of major roadway issues. The safe travels, the ability to keep people off the road is still important because we need our plow trucks, our linemen, and our first responders' safety are of the utmost importance at this time to expedite our recovery in Tennessee.
When you say expedite your recovery, what are your biggest needs right now? What are the top priorities?
The top priority is power. We have to get power back because that does so much for our community. It opens stores back up. It allows our folks to have heating. That is the biggest priority because the life safety concerns, if we don't have power, continue to grow exponentially every day that goes on.
I'm sure it's a moving target, but do you have a sense of how many people have moved to warming centers?
I do know we have over 100. That varies because we're not talking overnight shelters like some of that you see in tornadoes or earthquakes, but we have over 100 warming centers that are locally led throughout the state, and some as many as 30 to 50 people, some as few as 2 to 3. But each person that we're able to get in there and notify and give information on is important.
And what's your best advice to people who, sometimes people want to stay home when it's cold, or they're afraid to leave their property, or they feel like they need to get in the car and go somewhere to pick up a few things. What can people do to help?
I would say if you don't have to be on the roads right now, don't be. What we're seeing is there's a lot of Tennessee, a lot of secondary and rural roads that as we go on these main thoroughfares, these rural roads are still slick. They haven't been touched at the moment because of how expansive this storm was throughout the state. Tennessee Department of Transportation is working 24/7, putting out over 1 million gallons of brine that we've seen. So the efforts are there. They're pushing it. But if you're in a safe place, and you don't have to travel, the advice would be don't, because the roads are still bad, and we want our linemen, we want our TDOT folks, and our first responders to be safe, along with all 7 million Tennesseans.
Well, Alex Pelham, you and all the folks who are working so hard, and I'm guessing not getting a lot of sleep, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time. And still ahead, the letter that Attorney General Pam Bondi sent to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and why Democrats are saying it's an attempt at blackmail.
Attempted blackmail. Imagine that. So it's coming from our own United States government officials. Whenever I put out the advisory in 2007, right before the 2009 ice storm hit up in Kentucky, I knew then that I was dealing with a society that was totally upside down, especially the way that they was trying to make up charges on me, like I was trying to cause electrical disturbances by blowing up one of the Tennessee hybrid dams on the Tennessee River in Kentucky. I knew then. And sure enough, between not only the actual electricity problems that we've seen since that advisory went out in 2007, all these computer software, social media, artificial intelligence, new enterprises that's coming to play. The civilian life on this planet is only setting itself up for a major problem in basically any and all the above towards throwing this great planet off into the dark ages one day. If something major was to happen, either by man or by the forces of nature pertaining to the sun, as far as major electrical disturbances. and to think that I was punished for trying to help a society, to think that I was uh, pushed in a direction towards criminalizing my life ever since the White House done what they done with the Reagans and the Bushes in the late 80s. It's sickening to watch the hardship that has fallen upon to society in the past 30 plus years. It's sickening. But there ain't nothing that I can do about it other than grin and bear it and hang on, because obviously this is what various people has wanted to do, was to lead us in the direction of doom and gloom and disaster, and that's what we're dealing with today. That's what we're dealing with today. And what even, to me, what even makes it even sicker is that I still don't have supporters. I still don't have any type of renewability towards rallying the people in the right direction towards seeing a spiritual revival. And the further that we get into this thing, the more tragic that we're going to see. And I tend to wonder if that's what the people want. Give them what they want. They wanted chaos. They wanted hardship to fall up into their lives. So give them what they want, I guess. The sad thing about it is there's so many innocent lives out there that didn't ask for this. But then again, they're not rallying neither. They're not standing up and supporting the messenger with the messages. So there you go there. It falls upon to the fault of the people. They brought it upon to themselves, which has been in the opposite direction towards peace and utopia. And that was the main core of the message that went out in 1988 whenever 9 cassette tapes circulated into the White House. A sad, sad state of affairs. And at this point in time, all I can do is, I guess, like I said a while ago, is grin and bear it. And hang on. Because the ride's coming near a neighborhood near you in some form or fashion. Now, getting back to the snow and ice, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it blanketed even places over in Mexico, down towards Houston and New Orleans, got hit. Louisiana, that don't have snow plows and ain't equipped for stuff like this, even down in parts of Florida on the Pensacola and Destin, got hit by this tragedy that's recently hit America.
Minnesota with the immigration crackdown. We now have two people who are on the same page. We told you earlier in this hour that the president had posted on Truth Social that he'd had a phone call with Governor Tim Walz, and it was a very good call. We actually seemed, he said, to be on a similar wavelength. Now we have a similar statement from the governor, who calls it a productive call with President Trump, and there are two main areas that they are looking at. One is the investigation into the 3 shootings that have happened in Minneapolis involving federal agents, and the call by the governor to get federal agents out. Let me bring in White House correspondent Julia Jesser. Julia, tell us more about what Governor Walz had to say.
Yes, well, we know Governor Walz called President Trump. He said it was a productive call, and he did hone in on those 2 key areas you mentioned. Reading from this statement that we have from his office, he said the president agreed, quote, he would talk to his Department of Homeland Security about ensuring the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is able to conduct an independent investigation, as would ordinarily be the case. And he said the president would also look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota, and said that the state could work with a more coordinated fashion on immigration enforcement regarding violent criminals. Now, the governor also said he reminded the president that the Minnesota Department of Corrections already honors federal detainers by notifying ICE when a person in its custody is not a U.S. citizen, saying there's not a single documented case of the department releasing someone from state prison without offering to ensure a smooth transition of custody. Now, a couple of things in this are really important. One, what the governor told the president aligns with what we had been hearing from some local officials and prison officials saying that they are trying to cooperate with the federal government, pushing back on these attacks from the Trump administration that Minneapolis is a sanctuary city, completely shutting out the federal government's effort to crack down on immigration. And this phone call comes at a really pivotal time when the Trump administration has said that the Insurrection Act is still on the table. And a key part of that is if state authorities do not cooperate with the federal government to ensure law and order. And it looks like Walz is attempting to do just that, which would undermine a case for the Insurrection Act. Chris.
At least for now, and the devil may be in the details, but the president and the governor suggesting there may be some progress on this. Julia Jester, thank you. And still ahead, remembering Alex Preddy. A high school friend defends his memory against the narrative that's being put out there by the Trump administration. Keep it close. More Chris Jansing reports just after this.
I still say that there's going to be people that's going to look at this through the eyes of historicals, that it's going to give the appearances of the arson of somebody that deliberately started a fire so that they would look heroic by going and putting the fire out, because of the way that this administration has attempted to solve this illegal immigration problem. That historians down the road is going to look at how stupid and how idiotic that this was towards going in and dismantling these sanctuary cities and sanctuary states and towns or whatever communities that, I agree, never should have existed to begin with, because it contradicts our laws towards coming over here illegally to begin with. But they're going to look at this and they're going to say, what a bunch of idiots that would have tried to have gone about solving this problem this way. It's not going to look good. It's going to have to be something that we're going to have to explain to our children and our children's children and all those that come after us. They're going to wonder, how come y'all done what y'all done? Kind of like what Ronald Reagan talked about pertaining to the time capsule. What are they going to say about us? Well, if you're like the most people, you probably don't care what other people's going to say about us. I do. I care about caring about people and caring about what they think about people that care about people. I do care. Good luck to all of us. God bless America, God bless our troops, God bless our endeavors. And may heaven help us all. Shalom.